Chapter 19. All went well, and we fled down the bitter stream of Martian Gulf at a pace leaving me little to do but guide our course just clear of snags and promontories on the port shore. Just before dawn, however, with a thin mist on the waters and flocks of flamingo-like birds croaking as they flew southward overhead, we were nearly captured again. Drifting silently down on a rocky island, I was having a drink at the water pitcher at the moment, while Haru, her hair beaded with prismatic moisture and looking more ethereal than ever, sat in the bow, timorously inhaling the breath of freedom, when all of a sudden voices invisible in the mist came round a corner. It was one of Arhap's war canoes toiling upstream. Haru and I ducked down into the haze like daub chicks and held our breath. Straight on towards us came the toiling ship, the dip of oars resonant in the hollow fog, and a rippling babbling on her cutwater plainly discernible. "Oh, oh, ho, ho, how high," sounded the sleepy song of the rowers till they were looming right abreast, and we could smell their damp hides in the morning air. Then they stopped suddenly, and someone asked, "Is there not something like a boat away on the right?" "It is nothing," said another, "but the lees of last night's beer curdling in your stupid brain." "But I saw it move." "That must have been in dreams." What is all that talking about?" growled the sleepy voice of authority from the stern. "Bowman, sir, says he can see a boat." "What does it matter if he can? Are we to delay every time that lazy ruffian spying a shadow makes it an excuse to stop, yawn, and scratch? Go on, you plankful of lubbers, or I'll give you something worth thinking about." And joyfully, oh so joyfully, we heard the sullen dip of oars commence again. Nothing more happened after that till the sun at length shone on the little harbour town on the east estuary mouth, making the masts of fishing craft clustering there like a golden reed bed against the cool, clean blue of the sea beyond. Right glad we were to see it, and keeping now in shadow of the banks, made all haste while light was faint and mist hung about to reach the town, finally pushing through the boats and gaining a safe hiding place without hostile notice before it was clear daylight. Covering Haru up and knowing well all our chances of escape lay in expedition, I went at once in pursuance of a plan made during the night to the good dame at what, for the lack of better name, must still be continued to be called the fish shop, and finding her alone, frankly told her the salient points of my story. When she learned I had robbed the lion of his prey and taken his new wife single-handedly from the dreaded Arhap, her astonishment was unbounded. Nothing would do but she must look upon the princess. So back we went to the hiding place, and when Haru knew that on this woman depended our lives, she stepped ashore, taking the rugged Martian by hand in her dainty fingers, and begging her help so sweetly that my own heart was moved, and thrusting hands in pocket, I went aside, leaving those two to settle it in their own female way. And when I looked back in 5 minutes, Royal Seth had her arms around the woman's neck, kissing the homely cheeks with more than imperial fervor. So I knew all was well thus far, and stopped expatiating at a little fishes in the water below, and went over to them. It was time. We had hardly spoken together a minute when a couple of war canoes filled with men appeared round the nearest promontory, coming down the swift water with arrow-like rapidity. "Quick," said the fishwife, "or we are all lost. Into your canoe and paddle up this creek. It runs out to the sea behind the town, and at the bar is my man's fishing boat, amongst many others. Lie hidden there till he comes if you value your lives." So in we got, and while that good Samaritan went back to her house, we cautiously paddled through a deserted backwater to where it presently turned through low sandbanks to the Gulf. There were the boats, and we hid the canoe and lay down amongst them till, soon after, a man, easily recognized as the husband of our friend, came sauntering down from the village. At first he was sullen, not unreasonably alarmed at the danger into which his good woman was running him. But when he set eyes on Haru, he softened immediately. Probably that thick-bodied fellow had never seen so much female loveliness in so small a bulk in all his life, and being a man, he surrendered at discretion. In with you, then, he growled, since I must needs risk my neck for a pair of runaways who better deserve to be hung than I do. In with you both to this fishing cobble of mine, and I will cover you with nets while I go for mast and sail, and mind you lie down still as logs. The town is already full of soldiers looking for you, and it will be short shrift for us all if you are seen. Well aware of the fact, and now in the hands of destiny, the princess and I lay down as we were bidden in the prow, and the man covered us lightly over with one of those fine mesh seines used by these people to catch the little fish I had breakfasted on more than once. Materially, I could have enjoyed the half-hour which followed, since such rest after exertion was welcome. The sun warm, the lapping of the sea on shingle infinitely soothing, and, above all, Haru was in my arms. How sweet and childlike she was! I could feel her heart beating through her scanty clothing, while every now and then she turned her gazelle eyes to mine, and with a trust and admiration infinitely alluring. Yes, as far as that went, I could have lain there with that slip of maiden royalty forever, but the fascination of the moment was marred by the thought of our danger. What was to prevent these new friends giving us away? They knew we had no money to recompense them for the risk they were running. They were poor, and a splendid reward, wealth itself to them, would doubtless be theirs if they betrayed us even by a look. Yet somehow I trusted them as I have trusted the poor before, with the happiest results, and telling myself this and comforting Haru, I listened and waited.